Someone who knows a bit about censorship and the censorship industrial complex, Babylon Bee CEO Seth Dillon, he joins us now. So, Seth, great to have you. Nice to see you. Tell me about your personal experience with Alphabet and YouTube shutting down the Bee.
Well, first, I just have to laugh at the comment about how they care about conservative voices. Really? Like, I was smiling and laughing before you brought me on. Well, the Bee has faced censorship from a number of platforms, usually over the issue of misinformation, but then it transitioned into something with hate speech, jokes that you're not supposed to tell. My biggest concern with what was happening was the fact that this was the Biden administration that through back channels was pressuring these platforms. It's one thing if the platforms themselves take down content they don't like based on their own terms of service. We can have a whole discussion about whether or not they should have the right to do that, whether or not these large scale platforms for public discourse should be free for open discourse without them having the kind of control over our speech that they have. We can have that debate, but there is no debate when it comes to government coercion through the back door. They can't constitutionally do that through third parties. It's as if the government is censoring you themselves when they do that. So this was a First Amendment issue, and I don't think that it's enough for YouTube to just put people back on after all these years of losing all that revenue and all that reach. Now, I mean, is COVID-19 even a topic we need to be debating? We needed to be debating it at the time.
Amen.
Because we know what's going to happen if and when a Democrat's back in the White House. They're going to do it again. And there's nothing stopping them. I mean, they're falling on their knees now, but because they're worried about regulation coming out of the Trump administration. They haven't said that, but we all know that's the fact. And there was a lawsuit that was brought about the COVID-related, it was really about the COVID-related censorship with the collusion between the Biden administration and the big tech companies. I call them like the horsemen of the apocalypse. And the Supreme Court would not render a decision on it said that the plaintiffs did not have standing, one of whom was Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. So they just kind of dropped it and wiped their hands of it and never kind of wrote an opinion on it.
Well, where's the accountability? That's what I wonder, because this was a constitutional violation if you had the government involved, and clearly the government was involved, and YouTube has admitted that. Zuckerberg admitted that he was facing pressure as well from the administration. So the censorship was heavy-handed and it was coming from the government. But the COVID stuff was really, what really got my blood boiling back then was how there was this argument that, even as they started to realize that they were too heavy-handed with their censorship and the story started to change and things that we thought were false turned out to be true, they always, try to absolve themselves by saying, well, we censored based on what we knew at the time. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's actually an argument against censorship, because it's a concession that knowledge changes over time, which means that if it does change over time, you might be censoring the truth right now. So we shouldn't be engaged in censorship. The best way to get to the truth is through open discourse and debate. And I'm hopeful that we'll have some more progress in that direction. This is great. This is a great first step. But again, I know people personally who are making $150,000 a month on YouTube when they got suspended for these ridiculous thought crimes that they had committed. Where's the recompense for that?
All right, so Seth, quickly, what is the best way to get back at these companies who engaged in censorship with the government? Forgiveness is not enough, and as you said, reinstating people isn't enough. So how do you really change the dynamic moving forward?
Well, it is unlawful, I think, what they were doing. There needs to be some accountability through the courts. I think the social pressure that's been applied, and also, this is a lot of this change that we're seeing is the result of people using their voices to push back on this stuff, to apply more pressure to these companies, to elect leaders that are going to actually do something about it and right these wrongs. So I think we're making progress in the right direction. As far as what the final solution is, I don't know, but the platforms are freer today than they were yesterday, and that's a good thing.
All right, very good.
Thank you so much, Seth Dillon. And Squeal, too, because when you were censored by Twitter, along came Elon Musk and eventually bought it.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, we owe him a lot of money now.
Thanks, Seth. Up next.
Thank you.